que lo hiciera, día desde luego clave en términos geopolíticos, pero vamos a cambiar de asunto ahora. Vamos a hablar de inteligencia artificial, porque desde luego es una de las grandes manías o tendencias, en función de a quién le preguntemos, que ahora mismo se está viendo en el mercado, y vamos a ahondar un poquito en este asunto. Tenemos con nosotros a Valtteri Ahti, que es Chief Strategist en Evli Fund Management. Valtteri, thank you so much for being in Negocios Televisión. Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Valtteri, today we're going to speak about AI, artificial intelligence. Every stock that has something to do with AI is skyrocketing this year, but people are worrying about if this is a bubble, like the dot-com bubble in 1999, for example, or if it's the start of a solid trend. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's on everyone's mind. So, first of all, there aren't actually that many ways to take advantage of AI directly. So there aren't that many so-called pure plays out there. And so what seems to have happened is that first, these large technology stocks like Alphabet, Amazon, so forth, that are related to AI have started going up. And that's also spread to other technology stocks, so not just these large ones, but technology stocks that have nothing to do with AI. And finally, last week, what's happened is that for perhaps fear of missing out, it's become contagious. So almost all stocks, not all stocks, but lots of stocks are going up right now. So we're actually seeing, Europe's going up, emerging markets are going up, US is going up, regardless of, but technology is still leading. I think it's a bit curious that every time technology is rising really quickly, people always bring up the dot-com. So it was dot-com 99. And then it was dot-com in 2021 again, is it dot-com? And now, a couple of years later, it's always the dot-com question. So this technology, there's always this idea that it might be similar, that we're just going to buy into this stuff, it's going up like crazy, and it's going to crash and burn. So I think the picture is in some ways similar to 21. So some of the, first of all, I think things have moved up too quickly. So clearly, I think some of these stocks have run away. So it might get a bit expensive to join the party right now. But I think fundamentally, it's not a dot-com issue in the sense that these companies that are going up are completely different than the ones in the dot-com boom. So just please interrupt me if I'm just talking too long. But
No, it's great. It's great. It's an interesting point of view. Thank you, Valtteri. There's a huge debate also on what impact AI will have on our lives. Some say, for example, it will allow us to stop doing tedious work. Even some think we will start working for only 15 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week nowadays. But others, for example, fear AI will exterminate humankind. What do you think about this debate?
Yeah, so there's I tried asking myself, I asked AI, I use AI every day. So I asked him if politely, of course, if they were going to exterminate us. And I was assured that this would not be the case. And I think, I'm not an AI philosopher, but of course it has to do with philosophy anyway, in a sense. But the idea, I think, that's key is that AI is fundamentally like human beings as well. It's axiomatic in the sense that it does things on the basis of its programming. So you'd have to ask why would it want to do something like that? So I think the sci-fi stuff about the sort of Skynet and Terminator is a bit far-fetched, but I think what is a real danger is that what kind of different AIs will there be? I mean, we have multiple ones in the West that are giving us answers, but you can think of, let's say, a regime in China or Russia, for instance, that the kind of AIs that they will tolerate are going to be fundamentally different, are going to offer different solutions and ideas to the same questions we're asking in the West. And in the sense, this is also, it's kind of, it's a legacy, or it's the same thing that happened during the internet. I mean, the internet was supposed to set us free, spread democracy and so forth, but what ended up happening is actually it seemed to create all these like multiple universes. So you could quite happily live in your own, let's say, Fox-based universe and get all the information that you wanted to hear, not necessarily what you needed to hear. And so, before we used to be in a situation where everybody pretty much had the same information. Whereas now we're offered different answers depending on if we're in Fox News or if you're reading, Financial Times or Negocios, So it depends what you're listening to or seeing, and I think AI is going to might make that even stronger. So you're able to control these AIs, and it's going to just completely separate people into these different spheres of information, and they'll get completely different answers to questions that you'll ask. So I think that is the real danger that we'll face, and it's something that's been going on for a while.
Valtteri, we only have 1 minute left, but I wanted to ask you something else. How can we benefit from the rally on AI stocks that we're living now? You already mentioned something about it, but are we still on time to invest in companies like, for example, Nvidia?
Well, I think the way to do it now is, if you want to join, is that the whole rally that's happening in AI is spreading. So it used to be sort of like AI, then it used to be big technologies that are somehow, will benefit from AI, and now sort of it's spread into AI will help the economy, will help all stocks, and I think it's becoming sort of more general. So I think, in the sense that the question has not become is like, how do I play AI? I mean, there are AI ETFs if you want to play it that way, but it's become more of it's like one more thing to consider when choosing whether to buy stocks or not. So I think that's how it's spreading throughout, and it's not the only thing that's pushing stocks. I mean, there's other things like the fear of recession has been receding. That's one thing. So we're not, the bond market's not as afraid of recession as before, and that means that earnings again this season are going to be robust, and probably towards the end of the year as well. And I think AI is just like one of those things that added another positive onto this story that's increasingly become more positive when we had this, the debt crisis fell away, the banking crisis has sort of ebbed, economic growth is robust. So I think those things are enabling this market rally to continue. I think it's gotten a bit out of hand, and it might calm down a bit, but I think sort of the worst case scenarios, like recession scenarios, are become less probable, and that helps the equity rally.
Valtteri Ahti, Chief Strategist at Evli Fund Management, thank you so much for being in Otras Televisión. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Y nosotros, mientras tanto, nos despedimos ya, hacemos un último